I'm not exactly sure where I was with the first moment that I ever met Jim Clendenen. I know that my dad, who had planted the vineyard, I was still up at University of California, Davis, studying winemaking, and I came back between the two terms that I was there, and he said, my dad told me, you've got to meet this guy. You got to meet this winemaker. He's just an incredible guy, and he's really inspirational. And so my dad took me over there at some point, and what I do remember is Jim was just like this. He was just this sort of living amalgam of part teddy bear, part most confident crusader that you've ever met. And I just remember that first meeting with him when my dad asked him a question and he launched into the answer, and I looked at this guy and I just thought to myself, that man is talking the Holy Grail. He is talking the gospel truth. Whatever it is that's coming out of his mouth, I don't understand a single word of it, but it is the gospel truth. And then as the years went by, I finally kind of got a handle on it, and I actually did start to understand what he was saying. And every word was perfect. And between his knowledge and his wisdom and his inspiration, the dinner tonight is really the pioneers of the Sta.Rita Hills. Jim Clendenen was really a pioneer for the whole California wine industry.
Wow, yes, love it.
Hello. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Stand up or talk louder?
Stand up.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Little magic mic. My wife's like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm Greg Brewer from Brewer Clifton and Diatom, and I came into this area in '91 thanks to Bruce and Santa Barbara Winery. So I've only worked in Santa Barbara and predominantly only in Sta.Rita Hills, and it's my life, it's my identity, it's everything I have really. And so that's the thumbnail sketch of that. Brewer Clifton we started about 26 years ago with 12 grand. Diatom was in 05 with not much more. And but this place is everything. Jim, I can't remember the first time, I remember tasting, and I was at the tasting room at Santa Barbara Winery, and I was pouring at a vintner's thing in Santa Barbara somewhere, in La Arcata Court or some courtyard thing. And I remember reading about Jim and learning about Jim, and especially at Wine Cask, it's such a beautiful incubator for all of us that have had experiences with Wine Cask, and being able to meet most of this table. They were, kind of poring over the Futures catalog and all that. And I remember learning about him and then meeting him, and there is still a bigger than life, grand. I won't say bravado, that sometimes has a negative connotation, and I don't mean that, but it's a bit big. I mean, massive, like Robespierre life about him that was so invigorating and scary and emboldening and confidence instilling and fear instilling all at once, kind of like Brian said in some ways. And that was great. And then I do have a confession. I might as well get it out now. In this little circle of trust. Because I didn't know we were going to talk about this kind of stuff. But it was early days at BC, and we were at Wine Cask, and it was before we'd even done any wine, but we knew we were. It was the first Futures program, and Clifton was running the retail store, and Jim. It was the first Isabel boxes, right? And it was the three, ABC, the really clever, thoughtful, awesome, like ABC, after Isabel was born. And they came in those sexy 6-bottle, 6x1 wooden boxes. And Brewer Clifton we were always like, we'll do wood boxes and wood shaving and tissue wrap and wax, we're gonna be hardcore. But we didn't have any money. And so we were like repacking all these wood boxes into shippers to ship out, because he sold so much wine, and there was stacked to the rafters, these sexy wood boxes. The whole place smelled like wood. It was amazing. And then I thought, oh wow, I could just flip the lid over and I could hand paint our logo on that. And so actually the very first, it's still in the Brewer Clifton office, the very first Brewer Clifton wooden boxes are actually repurposed, keeping it green, repurposed Au Bon Climat Isabel boxes. And so that's my confession.
Yay!
Don't let it leave here. But none of us would be here without his spirit and ambassadorial kind of thing. And all I want to do with my career is to do my best to help continue buoying up everybody around us. Santa Barbara County, certainly Sta.Rita Hills in particular. Yeah. and very much inspired. And it can never touch what he's done, but if I can do a fraction of it, I'll be satisfied. Thank you.
Yes. Woo, thank you.
It's working. How's that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I need to stand up?
Yes, you
Whatever you want to do. All right. Whatever you want to do. I'm Rick Longoria, Longoria Wine.
Yeah.
Came to Santa Barbara County to work for the Firestone family in 1976. And trying to think when I met Jim Clendenen. I have this recollection of meeting him at some wine tasting, and it was not in the valley, like San Francisco or somewhere. And I was pouring wine, and Jim comes up to me and introduces himself. I'm Jim Clendenen, and I think he had just started working at Zacca Mesa, and I hadn't met him yet. And he said, "Yeah, so you're Rick at the Firestone Vineyard." I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "I understand you're kind of the guy that runs things over there." And of course, that was far from the truth. And I thought, okay, this guy is going to be a salesman. Because I don't know what he wanted from me, but I could tell that he was, going to push some buttons, to kind of go forward, with whatever agenda he had. And maybe he just wanted to pump me for information about, what's happening at Firestone, or just winemaking wise, I don't know. And another recollection I have of him was, again, he was at Zacca Mesa. I was the winemaker at J. Carey, which is now Lincourt, and we're making a small amount of wine, very primitive. In fact, I've been told recently that Jim probably and some other winemakers, and Ken might remember this as well, had a nickname for me, and that was No Forklift Rick. I was probably the only winery in San Ynez Valley that did not have a forklift to lift grapes into the hopper.
Wow.
So there are photos of me pitchforking grapes. So one harvest evening, the daughter of the owners of J. Carey, Barbara Carey, was my intern. She was my harvest cellar worker. And it was like 6 o'clock, and we just finished crushing, all day long. And we had a night ahead of us in terms of cleaning up. And Jim rolls up in a Volkswagen Bug, and it was yellow, but the rear lid was red. So obviously it pieced it together somehow. And he says, "Let's go out and have dinner. You just got off work." And I said, "Well, we've got another 2 or 3 hours of cleanup here. Thanks, but no thanks." Barbara, however, said, "Oh, I think that's a great idea." She hopped in the Bug with him and took off. And again, it was like, "All right, Jim, thank you." Anyway, but that was him. I mean, he lived large. I mean, he could work hard, but he also wanted to play and live hard. And that's a glimpse of him early on.